Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to my playthrough of Elite Dangerous. This is a series that I call Endeavour. Now I can't remember quite where we previously left off, but I know I didn't have a Type 7, which you can now see I actually do have. Let's get out there very quickly and have a brief look at what that's all about. There we go, flying brick, typical of some of the Lacon transport ships. But it's actually very nice when it comes to transporting goods, because it's got a storage space, a cargo inventory of 304 units. So that makes it very good for trading, and it makes it particularly good for community goals. And I've actually been running through the current community goal. Now the previous one I did was in Kamadhenu, the same one that's running this week. Now you might think, why is the community goal the same? Well, that's because this community goal is in 3 stages, 1 a week, and basically the gist of it seems to be to create stations along route from the existing bubble all the way to Colonia. And Colonia is around about 22,000, I think, light years away from Sol, so quite a way, and it's quite a trek for most people to actually get there. So having stations en route is going to be quite nice. I believe there are a few stations en route currently, but the plan is to put a few more down. So where are we? This is protecting traders, and I haven't actually participated in this particular community goal, and I don't seem to be too many people actually have. Or, well, 4,000 contributors, but the tier is still quite low, and normally on combat orientated community goals they unlock quite fast, those tiers. But that's because there's not really anywhere out here to get involved in a lot of combat, at least not anywhere that people traditionally like to use, such as at resource extraction sites. There's a few nearby, but it's a bit of messing around to actually get to them. But the one everyone seems to be interested in is the trading community goal. And I've been doing quite a bit of this in my Type 7. You can see I'm in the top 10% there. And the current tiers unlocks gives me a nice fat reward of 13 million credits. Now I'm not expecting to stay in the top 10%. I'm fully expecting at some point to slip back to the top 25% as more people get involved and as more products are actually delivered. But if you deliver Brillium can be purchased fairly locally for around about 7,500 credits, and you can actually sell it here on the commodities market for around about 10,500, I think, or maybe 10,600. Oh no, 10,700. So you can make over 3,000 credits per unit profit, which in the Type 7 is about 1 million credits profit per run. So yeah, that makes a nice bit of money. So far I'm up to 64 million credits, and I've got the money coming for the end of this community goal yet to arrive once it's completed. So what are we going to do today? Well, we're not going to do the community goal, at least not at the moment. Maybe that's something I'll do later on. But what I do want to do is get involved in passenger missions. Actually, I'm going to come back here very quick. Because I've been delivering stuff here to this system, I am now allied with Sergeant Market. So, yeah, that means I should be able to get some rather good missions here. Passenger missions generally are quite well paid. Let's see. Am I allied with some of these? Yeah, I'm allied with Chapter House of Inquisition. So let's see, do they have very good missions here? Kennedy wants to go to a triple nebula and collect data. Well, I'm certainly not doing that. The distance for that would be quite far. But what I do want to do is do some transportation missions. You can see here, 1.5 million, near enough just for a very quick trip. Let's see. Just 30 light years, so we should be able to do that in a single jump. I do have a Dolphin, but the Dolphin isn't the best of passenger ships. It's actually the lowest of the passenger ships. Haven't got enough for a Beluga just yet. What I can afford to buy is an Orca. At least I believe I can afford to buy an Orca. I've done a bit of an outfit setting on ED Shipyard, just having a look at the cost on the another screen now. So it's going to cost me about 60 million to fully outfit one of those. A bit more than I'd like to pay, actually. But nonetheless, let's go over there and see what we can see. The system that EDDB is telling me to go to, where I can purchase everything I want to purchase, is Kellish. So we'll go over there and make the purchase. Quite possibly not everything yet, because it is quite a big chunk of my money, and I don't really want to fly without a rebuy. But maybe I'll just buy 1 or 2 cabins less. Okay, so let's head on over there. It's, what, 3 jumps, maybe 4? 3 jumps to Kellish, so it shouldn't take me too long. I'll catch you there in just a moment. So, one very quick trip over here to Kellish then, and we got to dock at Alfonsi Orbital. Can't help think I'm missing something there with that name. You may notice I'm flying without a shield. It's something some traders like to do. Don't mind doing it in a Type 7. I find the thing fairly easy to use to escape interdictions with, and it does mean I can have that much extra bit of cargo. In a Type 9, I generally do fly with a shield. I prefer to keep that a little bit more protected, but I haven't got a Type 9 on this account at any rate, and it might be a while before I can actually afford one of those. This ship was around about 18 million credits or so. That said though, I did take a little bit of damage leaving the previous station. Got clipped by an oncoming vessel. But generally speaking, as long as you're play it safe, you can travel without a shield for the most part. Especially if you're not travelling down to any planetary surfaces. Planetary surfaces sometimes being a bit high G, you're more likely you're going to encounter some trouble there when landing. So we've got to come down a little bit more gentler than I normally would. But yeah, we're good. Right, so we're going to purchase an Orca there. Now the Orcas cost around about 47,000 credits. To be honest, I probably should have travelled somewhere where I can get a 20% discount if you do go to certain stations. 20% is quite nice, or 5% or 10% depending on what's actually going on. Let's have a look how much it costs. I might actually, I've come to the wrong board there. I might actually go and have a look, see how far it is to a system where I can purchase this ship at a discount, because that extra few million in my pocket would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Let's have a very, very quick look here. So, Beluga liner, quite an expensive ship. The Orca is actually 48 million here, so a little bit more expensive than I was expecting. Okay, so the Orca it is then. We're going to purchase that right here for the 48.5 million. Massive chunk out of my overall cash. But one thing I haven't got to buy is a frameshift drive. This uses the same size drive as the Type 7, so I'm going to just transfer that over. And that's going to save me around about 5 million. So it's going to be a little bit less expensive than I initially thought. But before I do that, let's outfit it with all the cabins. Actually, one thing I do want to do is have a look at my Dolphin. Now I'm going to do a remote sell of that. I could actually transfer it over here, strip out the modules and sell them individually, and I'd gain a little bit extra, because you do lose about 10% on a ship sale, the total cost of a ship. So if you take the modules out first, you actually gain back a bit more money. But the time that's going to take is not worth the effort. So I don't want the Dolphin anymore. So we'll have that back. Diamondback Explorer I of course want to keep. I wonder how much the Cobra is worth. I think I transferred most of the stuff out of that. 2.2 million is pretty good, isn't it? I'm going to leave that for just a moment. Maybe at some point in the future I'd want that money in my pocket, but for now it can stay there as an asset. So let's go here and do a bit of outfitting. So I'm going to change everything over here. We get some cabins. I'm going to put in there the luxury class passenger cabin. do we want to exchange, or do we want to sell? Or just get rid of the old 6E1? I don't actually want that. 5E. In here we're going to put a first class one. There we go. Did I say 5E? Or 4E? What's going on here? 5E. Was there no 5E? First class there. Did not like it, did it? Well, that's a bit of a shame. EDDB shows that there is a first class over here, but that's not always entirely accurate, that website, because it relies on data that might not always be entirely up to date. So we put in here a business class one instead. Okay, we'll do the same here. We'll put another business class in. Oh, we've got plenty of room here, haven't we? So I'm going to put an economy one in here. Actually, I'll probably do, the rest will be economy anyway, I think. I'll put a shield in here. Some of the passengers get a little bit moany when you take a tiny bit of damage, so it's best to try and avoid upsetting them. So we'll put the shield in there, which will help us keep them happy. In here we'll put one more economy cabin, and we should just about be done, I believe. Okay, and I am going to purchase an advanced discovery scanner, and the reason for that is because I want a detailed, I don't want a detailed one, I want an advanced one. The reason for that is because some missions actually take you out to look at things out in the depth of space, and I may well be taking up some of those. So I may as well have the scanner to hand. Another thing you can fit to most, or at least some of the passenger ships, maybe only the Beluga, is a... Let's have a look if we can fit one here. I can't remember. Planetary vehicle hangar, but we can't have a fighter ship, unfortunately. That's for the Beluga, which is quite nice because it does help keep it defended. I'm going to sell the hard points on here because I'm going to run from any combat. I don't plan on shooting anything. Okay, and finally we're going to swap back to the Type 7. I could have done this straight away, actually. We're going to swap back to the Type 7, and I'm going to put the FSD into storage. Make sure I select the correct option. The reason I want this FSD is because it's a 5A, as it is 5 million, so it saves me spending another 5 million that I don't really want to spend. And on top of that, this one is modified. It's got an engineer modification on it. So I want to put that into the Orca. When the menus actually load up. One thing I like about the current beta that's going on PC is that all the menus load up much faster than they do on the live server. They've done some optimization there. The galaxy map in particular loads up very, very quick, as does the mission board. So hopefully those changes will carry over to the PlayStation as well. So we're going to store that. It's got to be changed out for a basic 5E. And now we can put this into the Orca. Very easy to make a mistake here and sell the wrong ship. And that can be a right nuisance if you've got some engineer modifications in there, because you sell them, you lose them, and you're not going to get them back. Sometimes a support ticket into Frontier Support may help you out, but that's not always guaranteed to do the job. So yeah, losing a good engineered module, especially one that has a god roll on it, would be a little bit upsetting, to say the least. So what have we got? We've got nearly a 10 light year jump range on the ship at the moment, and this puts us up to 20. So by no means a particularly brilliant jump range on it, but we can improve that a little bit, I think, by spending a bit more money. Let's see if it's worth the effort. Now we can actually go down a bit on power plant here. I'm going to go down to a 4C, 3B. 3B might be a little bit too low, but you know, let's give it a try. Why not? See, I'm going to put some new thrusters and stuff on here, so now they're going to start taking up a little bit more space. I'm wondering if the size 5 thrusters will actually do the job. How much do they actually gain me in light year for a jump? Quite a bit. Never actually tried these, so I don't know how well they'd actually work on the class of ship I'm trying to use here. Let's give it a try. You can have a laugh at me if it all goes wrong. Yeah, we're going to have to go for a different power module though, aren't we? But as you can see, my jump range is increasing here. And just maybe that is enough now. Yep, we go for that. Just about keeps us in the green there, doesn't it? Unfortunately though, we might be a little bit underpowered. I guess we'll have to find out. What was the ultimate jump range? 24 light years. So let's head back then to the previous system where I know I'm allied, and I can pick up some of the more higher paying missions. Right, so back here at the station then, first thing I'm going to do is refuel, and fueling is actually a subject that's worth discussing when you've got a passenger ship. If you're going to do the long range passenger missions, then one thing you're going to want is a fuel scoop. And if they're far enough, if you're going 10, 20,000 light years, then you'll probably want the best fuel scoop you can actually afford, which likely means you're going to put it into the largest optional slot on your ship, which means you'll have to put the fuel scoop there instead of a passenger cabin. But a good fuel scoop will save you a lot of time. The lower fuel scoops obviously mean you're sitting around waiting to be filled up all the time, and it's not really worth the time. So, yep, here we are. I'm only allied currently with just one of the factions here, but it probably won't take too long to get allied with some of the others. This one looks interesting, doesn't it? Let's go for the... Oh, no. Wrong one. Oh, no. Now I'm coming out of the menus. Excuse me. So, Chapter House of Inquisition has got, again, 4.5 million, or 1.5 million to transport this guy. One thing you do want to check out is whether or not they have wanted status or anything like that. It might be something you don't actually want to take, but this guy seems to be okay. He's not a criminal, so that's good at any rate. So he has to go into a business cabin. And let's have a look at the state industries here as well. And you can see the difference when you're not allied. The transport missions are actually much lower. Then again, part of that will be down to the distance as well, which is, I think, significantly less than the previous one. But nonetheless, I'm going to transport some of these to get the reputation up with these guys. Then go in the smallest passenger cabin. It's nice if sometimes you're fortunate enough to be able to get passengers going to all the same systems. I'm not taking this one because he's wanted, and I really can't be bothered to deal with the aggravation that comes with that. And some of these other ones, like Ryan Donovan here, it's not too bad. It's 2 trips, but still a bit further than I'm actually willing to go. Yes, I'm being quite lazy. What else have we got here? Plenty of sightseeing people. Yeah, it's not too bad for the money involved here. Now, I will be doing some sightseeing later on because they actually go to some very, very nice locations. This guy wants to go to some ice geysers, some fumaroles, and another ice geyser. So, yeah, some sightseeing that is actually quite nice to do, but the travelling involved is quite extensive. So I don't really want to do that, at least not yet. Maybe something for a little bit later. He wants to go to a fumarole, an ice geyser, and gas vents. And again, if it weren't for that 268 light year jump at the bottom there, I'd be very tempted to actually do this one, but there's 4 trips there. Let's keep looking. What was that? Something about atmospherics. Sirius atmospherics. I think I looked at this one, didn't I? Did I look at this one? Wants to go to an ice geyser and some lava spouts. Contract rank Pathfinder exceeds your thing. Have I got any room for these? Got no room for these. Have I? Yeah, let's go and have a look at some of these geysers. I know that's not how the people in the States will be saying that, and probably some other people in Europe that have learned to speak English. But here in the UK, we call them geysers. Yeah, same word as the old guys. Okay, so what one are we going to do first? I suppose it makes more sense to get rid of... to get these people out of the way, doesn't it? But we've got plenty of time to ship them. I'm going to do the one that's actually worth the most amount of money. And then we go out and see some interesting sites. Hopefully they are worthwhile sites. I don't have an SRV, unfortunately, fitted. So we won't be driving around those sites, but nonetheless we can certainly travel out to them. I generally don't do too many sightseeing missions. They do take a while. But, you know, sightseeing is what it's all about when it comes to exploration. So it will give us a good opportunity to see some geysers, and I haven't actually seen any for quite a while now. Some of them can actually look very, very impressive, and some of them look a little bit drab. Largely it depends on the lighting of the environment and the system that you're actually in. So yeah, we'll see how it goes when we get there. So we'll make it here without incident then. No problem at all, keeping the customers happy. Coming in a bit slow. Usually do a little bit faster than this, but we're here. Anyway, one thing I do miss about the Lakon ships, you probably know Lakon ships are one of my favourite in the game, and that's the view you get from the canopy, which really is nice when you use the head look, that you see exactly where you're going. The view's good enough here in these passenger ships anyway. So let's hand this one in and get some fuel while we're at it. So yeah, you can see at the top there I've got 6.4 million credits left. It's about to jump up a little bit here. Now it's 7.8, and the rebuy for this particular ship is a 3.1. Now on the way over here I was actually wondering whether or not I've done the right thing by purchasing the passenger ship, and whilst I do like making passenger missions because they do generate quite a bit of income, I was wondering whether or not I should have perhaps bought a combat ship. After all, I'm still flying in the Viper when it comes to combat, and 60 million would have bought me a pretty nice combat-focused ship. Although I tend not to do too much combat, so perhaps it might have been a bit of a waste. Let's have a look at the missions whilst we're here. We might be able to pick up something else that's interesting. Some nice transport missions are here. But none going to the same locations that we're currently going to. At least I don't believe so. Nope, that's it. So let's go and have a look at one of these systems here on the sightseeing mission then. So let's go have a look at the ice geysers, I guess. And then we can have a look at the lava spouts. When it can be bothered to load. Like I say, the update for the beta is very, very nice. Far quicker. Can't wait to get that on the live servers. Hopefully, like I say, that is also going to make it to the PlayStation as well. I don't know what sort of differences there will be on the PC build compared to the PlayStation build when it comes to loading times. The Galaxy map has actually been a real pain in the butt to load up ever since the game has been released. So, yeah, all these years, it's finally nice to see some improvements done that. Now, if you're willing to travel when it comes to passenger missions, you'll actually get to see some very interesting and very unique sights. You only need to look at some of the screenshots that are out there, and you can confirm that very, very easily. There's still plenty of interesting places to see inside inhabited space. A lot of them are quite a way outside of habited space as well. Now, one thing that's very nice about these missions as well is the fact that you get little markers up here on your nav panel. It takes you directly to the ice geysers or whatever other particular object you're coming to sightsee. And objects like this are generally quite difficult to find if you're relying on the longitude-latitude coordinates that you can see on the right-hand side of your HUD when you get near the planets. So if you're not very good at navigating using them, and I do have a bit of trouble with it myself even still after all this time, then you could do a lot worse than taking on a few passenger missions that will actually take you directly to these sort of locations, enabling you to see anything like this that you may have an interest in actually seeing. Just wondering if they're going to be in view of the gas giant there. Looks like they're around the other side of the planet, unfortunately. Oh no, we might get to see it there. What I really enjoy seeing is a beautiful sight on the planet with the vista of the gas giant on the horizon. Hesitating a bit there because looking at this planet, it's got quite a nice surface, isn't it? Don't see that too often. Unfortunately though, it still brightens up a huge amount. Might be coming in a little bit fast here, so we might fail to go into glide mode, though it sounds okay. Nope, we're okay, we're all good. Yeah, like I say, it's usually a little bit of a shame the way these planetary surfaces brighten up, but this one hasn't brightened up too much and actually looks quite good still. So we should see the geysers coming into view at any moment, depending on course how large they actually are. Some of them very little spurts, other ones can be quite large indeed. If they're of any decent size, I'd expect to be able to see them by about now, or at least a field of them, assuming there's actually a field there. And there we go, there's the visitor beacon. We just need to scan that, and the passenger should actually be happy with this stage of the mission. There we go. But where are they? I'd like to see them. So a very low G weld, so haven't got to worry about that too much. Maybe they're over to the left, are they? Or is that one there? No, that looks like a rock. Well, this could be a bit of a letdown, couldn't it? Maybe they're over here facing towards the gas giant. Oh no, we can't even see much of the gas giant. Oh no, there they are. So the reason they look brown rather than blue or white or some other colour is because we're on the dark side of the planet, so there's very little light illuminating them. If you fancy a surprise at any time, then come out here in an SRV and drive over one of these geezers. Unfortunately, that's not something I'm going to be able to do today because I don't have one of those vehicles with me. So yeah, nothing too spectacular going on here, but not too bad either. They generally look a little bit better when you've got some more lighting going on. And we might get a bit of buffeting on our ship here. No, nothing. What am I kidding myself? We know that doesn't happen. There we go, a little bit of water as well. Okay, so the question is, how far away is the next location? Depending whether or not I've gone further away from the second location or actually come closer to it. You can see that geezer dying down there, running out of pressure. Okay, so it looks like it's back the other way, doesn't it? And I'm going to run out of fuel before we actually make it there. Let's see, I think what I'll do is head back to the station of origin here, as it's en route, if I can get there, and get the fuel from, oh no, it's slightly out the way, isn't it? Still a bit fiddly to use this galaxy map, I think. Much prefer using it with mouse and keyboard. I'm actually going to go there first and then travel to the lava fields after this. The reason I want to go there is it's a good opportunity to refuel, but I actually forgot to summon over my Type 7, and I want to do a bit more on the community goal. So I'm going to need the Type 7 there for when I want to do that, and as it's going to take a little while for it to transfer over, I believe it was about 50 minutes, I'd rather get that over and done with right now. So all fueled up then, the Type 7 on its way back to the Sergeant Market, and here I am about to arrive at the lava spouts. Let's hope this one's a little bit more impressive than the previous one. I think the other one might have been a bit more interesting had it been on the bright side of the planet, but that's just how it goes sometimes, I guess. This one looks like it is indeed on the bright side of the planet, the side facing the star here. But it doesn't look like there's anything in the way of a spectacular horizon, unless there's something interesting going on in that dark patch of land there. Anyway, not too far away, we're about to find out. So yeah, if you're doing this purely for the money, then you might not necessarily want to do it, because there are far faster ways of making money. The community goal at the moment is certainly a good example of that. You can make 1 million credits per trip, and there are many faster ways even than that of making money, if money is what your focus is all about. But if you want to experience the breadth of the game, then yeah, give everything a bit of a try. And sightseer missions can be quite a good thing to try out like that.
Orbital flight engaged.
Shame the resolution of the planet looks a little bit low from all the way up here. And gotta say it, it's a bit of a shame they're all a beige. So I wonder how large this field is actually going to look. I've no idea actually how many tourist destinations there actually are. Tourist destinations are something that you can actually submit to Frontier via their forums. If you go there, there's an active thread and you can submit locations. I'm not sure if Frontier are still taking locations, but they were at one point, and nearly all of these locations are player submitted at one point or another. Hopefully at some point in the future there is an update coming where Frontier are talking about reworking exploration. What I'd personally love to see are some in-game tools that allow you to see and seek out things like what we're going to hear, the lava spouts and other such surface features of interest. And to be perfectly honest, we could do with some more features of interest down on planets as well. I'd love to see truly large volcanoes, active ones at that, and rivers of lava flowing. Maybe for a long off update, who knows, maybe someday it'll come with atmospheric landings if and when they finally arrive. So 40 kilometers away, still can't see the field here, but there's a slight bit of mist here, look toward the horizon. You can see it's pretty interesting, but one thing I'm going to have to pay attention to here is the gravity of the planet, 2.44 G. It's quite likely that I'll end up smashing this planet into the surface of the ground, the ship rather, into the surface of the planet. If you remember, I didn't fit particularly powerful, focusing on what's going on here, I didn't fit particularly powerful thrusters to the ship, so I have to be a little bit careful, and I've got one boost at best to escape anything that's potentially not too good. And there, over there, looks like we can see the lava spouts. Now with the slight colour of mist going on here, they're probably a bit more impressive than what we saw in the previous location, but let's get up closer and have a look there. So at the moment it seems they're more fumes rather than lava spouting out of the ground. But if we were to wait around and hang around, we might see them change and start spewing out other things. Oh, we're getting a little bit closer to the ground. And yeah, you can see there's other things on the ground that aren't actually spewing out anything at the moment. So these tend to work under certain scientific principles. They will build up pressure over time and then do their thing when the time is right. I was actually hoping to see some sparks and some lava coming out. Some of these you do see that from time to time, but I guess now is not the moment for that. There, okay, we're holding steady, and I'm going to risk a view from outside the ship. Okay, not a particularly spectacular view, but also not the sort of thing you see every day either. So it's these ones that I think will actually be spouting out the lava, maybe. But there we go. Hopefully the passenger is now going to be happy when I finally deliver them back to their station of origin. And that will be a nice 2.5 million credits added to what I've already got, which will bring me up to around about 10 million credits. Not too bad, considering I didn't have much at all just now. So I think that brings us to the end of this particular video. We'll be back very soon with some more. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.